What is up, guys? It is Coasters and Things here today, and today I'm presenting to you all my top 10 roller coasters at Carowinds. This video is dedicated to my friend NC Thrills. I'll leave a link to his channel down below, so please go check him out. Carowinds is a Cedar Fair park on the border of North and South Carolina. They currently have 14 roller coasters, so I'm going to give quick honorable mentions to the 4 coasters not in the top 10. These include Carolina Gold Rusher, an Aerodynamics mine train, Ricochet, a Mock Rides Wild Mouse, Kitty Hawk, a Vekoma family suspended coaster, and Wilderness Run, an E&F Miler kiddie coaster. Now let's jump into the top 10. Starting off in the number 10 spot is Woodstock Express. This PTC junior wooden coaster may not look like much, but if you sit in the back car, you get some good airtime because this coaster has buzz bars. It has a fun layout for a coaster this size. This is a great coaster to introduce little kids to airtime because there's not a lot of airtime, but enough that you do feel that it is there. I just barely prefer this one over the Kings Island one. Naturally, because it is a family coaster, it's going to place low on the list. I do enjoy these Woodstock Express clones though. That is why it is making it onto this list. Number 9 is one of my all-time least favorite coasters, Nighthawk. This Vekoma Flying Dutchman is incredibly rough. So rough that on my last visit to Carowinds, I intentionally passed on riding it again. Granted, I was assigned to the back row for my one and only ride on my first visit. That's probably why it was so rough. It has really awkward restraints and very poor track profiling. The double corkscrew at the end is particularly bad. So why did it make it on this list, you might be asking? Well, because it is simply more thrilling than Woodstock Express or the 4 that didn't make the list. Now, would I try this coaster again? Yeah, probably. If I could get a front row ride, then it would probably be more tolerable. Number 8 is Vortex, the B&M stand-up coaster. Many people aren't fans of this coaster, but I actually fairly enjoy it. If you know how to ride a stand-up coaster, then they are much more enjoyable than if you don't know how to ride them. Yes, it does have a small layout, but it was one of the first ever B&Ms, just behind Iron Wolf at Six Flags Great America and Vortex, now Patriot, at California's Great America. Is it as good as a sit-down coaster? No, but remember, the whole concept with stand-up coasters are to be different from every other coaster in the park. Now, is it as bad as Nighthawk? No, not even close to Nighthawk's level. It is so much more enjoyable than Nighthawk. This is the sole survivor for the stand-up coasters in the Cedar Fair chain, and I'm actually hoping this doesn't get converted into a floorless coaster for at least a few more years. Moving on to number 7, we have Flying Cobras. Formerly the Carolina Cobra, this may be another run-of-the-mill Vekoma boomerang, but it is smooth for a boomerang. It has the new style vest restraints, which prevent tremendous amounts of headbanging. This is my favorite of all the boomerangs I've done. It has good forces to it, it's not very rough, and the backwards section is always fun. There isn't much to say about this one since we all know about the boomerangs. There are over 50 of them in existence across the world, so there's a good chance, if you're a coaster enthusiast, you've ridden at least one of them. Number 6 is Hurler. This wooden coaster has a very bland layout, but it actually has some decent forces to it. It's the only coaster left surviving by international coasters. It's not that rough, especially compared to some wooden coasters out there. Now, between my 2 rides on this, I've gotten one good ride and one bad ride. As a result, this ride is in the middle for me at Carowinds. Now, the bad ride I got was back row in the rain, and as a result, it felt like needles were hitting my face the whole time. I know a lot of people wish for this to get RMC'd, but honestly, I would be happy if this coaster stayed in its original form. I would ride this again the next time I go back to Carowinds. Making the top 5 in the number 5 spot is Carolina Cyclone. This is, in my opinion, the definition of an underrated aero looper. It is super fun. I do enjoy this coaster more than most enthusiasts. Every ride I've taken on this, I've very much enjoyed. It was the first coaster to go upside down 4 times, and it still delivers an amazing ride experience even at 40 years old. I also like how it changes colors throughout the ride, from blue to orange to yellow and back again. It's fairly smooth for an aero coaster, and is a coaster I hope survives another 2 to 3 years at least. I will gladly ride this again on my next visit to the park. So now we're at the big four of the park. These are the four that enthusiasts come to Carowinds for. The four that everyone knows and loves. Starting off at number 4 is Intimidator. This is a B&M Hyper, and it is best experienced in the front row. This was my first coaster over 200 feet tall, and it was awesome the first time I rode it. I sat front row and got tons of floater. Then, when I went back for my second visit, I was let down because I sat towards the back and the trim brakes were very noticeable. I didn't get any airtime. Coaster enthusiasts nicknamed this coaster Intimidator several years ago for a good reason. If Carowinds would turn the trims off, then this could be one of the better B&M Hypers, I feel. But one notable thing is that I found out about Carowinds because of this coaster. It made the news when it first opened as the tallest and fastest roller coaster in the Southeast. Of course, it no longer holds that title, but it's cool to know that it once did. Number 3 is Afterburn. This is my favorite B&M inverted coaster that I have ridden. It has a really good layout featuring 6 fantastic inversions. It is also one of only 2 inverts to feature a batwing. The batwing goes underground and it is fantastic. My favorite inversion on this coaster actually is the insane corkscrew at the end. You go so fast through it. This ride is just so aggressive and so smooth as well. No rattle whatsoever. This I feel is one of the top 3 B&M inverts in the country. And it amazes me how 90% of the time this ride has almost no weight to it. That makes marathoning this coaster very easy to do. I'd love to marathon this coaster several times on one of my future visits to Carowinds. In the runner-up spot is the newest coaster at Carowinds, Copperhead Strike. This was the first major Mock Rides launch coaster in the United States and is currently Carowinds' only launch coaster. It features 5 inversions, including a JoJo roll right out of the station, one of only 2 coasters I know of to feature that element. As my first major Mock Rides coaster, I was blown away by this ride. It is very smooth and is the most fun coaster at Carowinds. The launches may not be super forceful, but the ride itself well makes up for the weak launches. Actually, the second launch is over an airtime hill, which I had never experienced before. This coaster will also forever hold a special place in my heart as my 100th roller coaster. In the number 1 spot, this should be no surprise, it is Fury 325. This is the star coaster of Carowinds. This B&M Giga coaster has all the things you love in a coaster. It has a fantastic first drop, it is very fast, it does have airtime, and it is a long ride. It is the tallest Giga coaster in the world, and one of the longest coasters in the world too. Fury is the full package in my opinion. It has good forces to it, and it is an incredible ride. Fury 325 should be a bucket list coaster for everyone, as it is one of the top roller coasters in the country. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll have more videos coming soon. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and this is Coasters and Things signing out.